Welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast. I'm Ani Anderson.
And I'm Brian Trzaskos. Join us as we explore the science
and art of trauma-sensitive somatic practices and tools.
Strengthen your practice as a coach, therapist, or holistic professional.
Master the art of motivating even the most challenging clients when you understand how to tap into and unlock your client's complete holistic intelligence.
If you want to learn the most cutting-edge, research-supported skills for personal and professional mastery, you've come to the right place. Let's get this conversation started. Hi, and welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast. Here we are for episode 97. Ani, how are you?
7. We're almost to 100.
Almost there.
Wow.
It's going to be 100.
That's so cool.
Centurions.
That's so cool. What are we talking about today, Brian?
So this is going to be kind of fun. We're talking about moving past the limitation of goal setting to the transformational power of intentions.
Okay.
You know, coaches love to set goals.
They do. Let's set some goals, Brian.
Yeah. And then
But how often do people actually meet the damn goals? Let's just be honest about that.
well, it's kind of funny, you know, for years when we have run the module, the class on goal setting in our Somatic Coach Pro training.
Yeah.
As soon as we say goal setting, people do people are like, oh,
They
you
have
see
like a
people kind of
physical-
shrink away, like, oh, not goal.
They do
I
that
hate
little
goal setting.
pukey kind
Yeah,
of
like
face.
people
they
they're like,
turn
I want
green.
to do goals.
And they don't say anything.
Although some people are like, I
like,
love goals. Like, I want to do goals. Other people are like, yeah,
no, but
goals.
most of them are not. Most of them hate the word goal, but they don't say anything at first. But we do as a part of that class, like, what do you think about the words? And then finally people are like, I can't stand it anymore. I hate the word goal. When I saw we were talking about that today, I was like, I don't want to talk about that. And by the way, I love that moment for our students because we do a lot of work around helping people to really tap into their authenticity. And we've just been told that we should like goals forever.
Right? As an achievement-oriented person, it's like we're achievement-oriented. We need to meet our goals.
And if you're not achievement oriented, you're not good enough, yeah. So people have a lot of stuff around the G word.
And then when we ask people about intentions, they're like,
Yeah.
I really
Most
like
of the time.
intentions.
I think I had the first class this past year where somebody was like, I hate intentions. I don't want to talk about intentions. I was like, oh my gosh, that's a great contrast because usually it's the opposite
How do
way.
they feel about goals?
They liked goals.
Oh, goals. Okay.
Yeah. It was a really fun conversation because we got to see how, different people felt about it. It's just a word, but it's a different kind of process. And then when we got to the end of the conversation and we actually showed them the differences, the really cool part was the person who said, I like goals, was actually I set my goals more like intentions. So that was funny.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be fun to talk about the differences between the two. And so goals are good, right? Goals are important. We just want to say that. So we're not saying like intentions are better than goals. They're actually both kind of important. And the way I think about it is that the goals are a foundational step in an understanding of how transformational intentions can be.
I will totally buy that. I remember as an occupational therapy student in school, I had a whole class on goal setting.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, this is going to be the easiest class ever. And then I would get my goals back from my instructor and they had red ink all over them. And I thought, well, crap. I mean, I thought this was going to be really easy, but it was hard. And I remember getting to the place where I could really set good goals for my patients and, on routine. And I think you're really right because sometimes I think some of the holes in the process that we see when people try to create intentions are actually because of that we're not often taught really well how to set goals as a foundation.
Yeah. And, when I think about it too, I had the same experience as a physical therapist student in goal setting. I wasn't great at setting goals. And I didn't like writing those soap notes. Yeah. Where the other thing is like, I didn't really understand like all about the soap note. It took me a long time to figure it out.
Oh, an A.
Yeah. What's it? It's all that stuff. And so SMART goals, I think are good in terms of helping people to dial into exactly, well, how do you actually write or create a good goal?
Yeah. The SMART goal process actually, I don't remember learning SMART goal process when I was in OT school,
No,
by
I
the
no,
way,
not in
because
PT
I
school either.
could
That would
use
have
some
been
help.
helpful.
Yeah,
It would have been helpful. I
be
think that's
helpful.
what they were trying to teach us, but
Right.
they didn't give us a framework with
Yeah,
how to do
yeah,
it.
that acronym is actually came after we were in school. But yeah, I agree with you. The SMART goal process is really helpful.
Yeah. So can we just like maybe just talk about SMART goals really quick since we
You
mentioned
bet.
them for anybody here who is not SMART goalie?
Yeah, sure. Go
So
ahead.
so what do we got? What's that acronym stand
You're
for?
gonna throw me under the bus
Well,
and
so
make me,
specific,
yep,
right? So the
specific.
goal needs to be
Yep.
specific,
And then measurable.
measurable,
And
sort of
that's
thing.
the one I used to really struggle with in school was for whatever reason. And then the A stands for achievable.
Achievable. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Which I think is really
Yeah.
great.
It's like, is it too lofty
Yeah.
or is it like, can it actually be met
Yeah.
sort of thing?
Yeah. What's the R is the one that is that relatable?
The R is always the one that I miss too. The T is timely. I know that one
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it tells you how much I actually set SMART goals. I
What's the
sort of thing.
I think it's relatable.
Relevant.
Relevant. That's what it is. Relevant.
Yeah.
Duh. Well, I say duh because like obviously we want it to be relevant, but because when you're first learning how to set goals, that R is really important.
Yeah.
Because it could be easy to miss. That's actually another one that when I first started setting goals, I would miss sometimes as a therapist because as an occupational therapist, the goal needed to be relevant to the person's life and what they needed to be able to
Mhm.
complete in their lives, and sometimes I just missed the mark on that because I needed them to like, work on range of motion or
Mhm.
something, but to make it relevant.
Yeah, so
Anyway,
I think all those parts of it, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timely, like those are all really important components of creating clarity, really,
yeah.
for where you want to go, like a
Hmm.
direction you want to be, how long is it going to be there. So whether or not we actually meet every one of those metrics that we're creating a SMART goal, I think the well, I'm not, I don't want to talk about the limitations of goal setting yet because I think there's distinct limitations. But the good thing about the SMART goals is that it gives us some clarity about what we are trying to achieve. Like, what are we aiming for? What are we shooting for? Gives us direction.
Yeah, and it's a good foundation because different methodologies have you get more nitty gritty and more specific about goal setting and certain ways that you can do that. But that the SMART goals is just a really solid foundation for goal setting.
Yep. And I think we should all have probably a couple of SMART goals that we have at any given time to help us move forward where we want to go. Now, where I think that goals become limiting is in the gosh darn attachment that we have to the specific parts of the goal,
Oh, yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like so for instance,
Yeah.
I've worked with
Uh-huh.
clients where we have a specific thing, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relational or relative. What do we say? I lost that word again,
Mhm.
but I know it's relevant. And then and it's timely, but they didn't meet the time part of it.
Or
And
didn't
they beat
specifically like,
themselves up for it.
yeah.
And it's like, but I didn't do it in the amount of time that I wanted to do it in, and I just failed at the. And so I find with goals is that if as a human, if you're setting a goal with a person who has issues or challenges with attachment, then the goals actually can become less helpful for people because then we're not actually using it as a motivational way to achieve something different. We're actually get more attached to the specifics of the goal itself. And when we don't meet those specifics, we can get really hard on ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm thinking that, we're gonna uh, meet the goal process through the lens of our core limiters if we don't understand our core limiters. And so goals can become a self-fulfilling limitation process.
Got you. Yeah, exactly.
So if you're listening to this and you've never been able to meet your goals, you never set timely goals that are like in reasonable time, or you have some kind of something or other going on with your goal setting and or goal achievement process, likely your core limiter is getting in the way. It's not the goal thing. It's actually the place you're coming from your limitations, because that's just going to play out if you don't understand how that works.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. Did you just also say, or did you say in a way that we actually will set the goal based on our core
We
limiter?
certainly can. Yeah. For example, if let's see, if I have a limiting belief and idea perspective that I'm not good enough, that I'm going to set a goal that the time frame is actually too short and I'm not going to be able to achieve
Specifically,
it,
so you don't meet
fulfill
that
the
time goal.
prophecy. Yeah, because a core limiter, when you a core limiter is a self-fulfilling prophecy that just keeps happening
Yeah.
until you know about it and then can start to rewire it. So yeah, even how you set the goal can be framed by your core limiter. Or for example, I might set a goal that really isn't going to get me where I want to go because my core limiter is saying you shouldn't be doing that, you should be doing this other thing. You know,
Mhm.
like I see it happen all the time when people are trying to create their practices and their businesses because they'll create goals that really don't actually move the needle to what they're trying to achieve. And I think that's really because their core limiter is speaking to them through their subconscious mind and
Mhm.
telling their conscious mind, you should go, yeah, start a podcast. You should go create a website funnel. You should go, whatever business development thing actually isn't going to move the needle for them.
Mhm.
So they can have that self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. Interesting. So I also find that or think that one of the limitations of goals themselves is I think they're oftentimes based not only in attachment, but also in competitiveness. Because think about sports,
Sure.
right? So like look at sport, like almost all the time, the objective of a sport is to score a goal, whether it's a
Sure.
soccer goal or a field goal or a, hit a ball into a hole goal or whatever, or, a basket or whatever it is, right? So there's always a competitive nature around goals. And I find it when we talk about working with natural law,
Right.
right? So natural law is not competitive. Natural law doesn't compete with anything at all.
Right.
It doesn't have to, right? It doesn't, it's all creative. It's not competitive. And those two energies can be at odds with one another,
Mm-hmm.
right? The competitive nature and the creative nature. And again, this goes back to goal setting.
Right.
That oftentimes we set goals, we're competing against ourselves, we're competing against someone else, we're competing
Yeah.
against some idea, but we set it as a way to beat or to win
Yeah, to win.
something.
Yeah.
And that actually, again, that's not an evil or a bad or a wrong thing. I'm just saying it actually ends up being a limited thing
It limits you. Yeah.
because the universe doesn't compete,
Right. It doesn't go along with the natural laws.
right? And
Yeah. And the goals are very I focused. They're all about me. And the way that the universal laws operate, there's this reciprocity and co-collaboration that's always going on. And goals are very I focused. They're only I focused.
yeah, so let's pivot now since we're talking about natural laws, and there's other podcasts that we've done on natural laws. You can go back and listen to those. That intentions, the transformational power of intention and intent setting intentions is really woven in with natural law.
Well, yes, and the way that we do it too, because just to say, like, different people set different intentions different ways, but we actually are talking about this compare and contrast between goals and intentions, not just like, I intend to, sometimes people just say intentions like they're, I don't know, talking about what they had for breakfast. We're pretty serious about helping you to create the life that you want to create
We're intentional
through the process
around
of
setting
intention.
intentions.
It's true.
So with goals, again, goals are good. They get you moving in the direction of creating something or achieving something that you don't currently have. So I think that that's beneficial.
Mhm.
And also they're limited because they're only going to get you to the thing that you decided that you set the goal on, which by the way, could be set based on your core limiters and could be coming from a competitive place that if you don't meet the goals, you lose. If you do meet the goals, you win. That binary experience of life, that polarized experience of life is actually limiting in itself. Because the truth is that the universe wants more for you than you want for yourself, right? The universe is aware that there's more for you than you are aware for yourself, sort of thing. So when we move into this idea of intentions, we're actually tapping into the universe's intentions
Universal
also,
intelligence, yeah,
rather than our own local personal goals, like
which
what you
is
said.
limited.
Yeah,
Our local personal intelligence is
is
limited.
limited.
Universal intelligence is
It's
limitless.
limitless, right? So let's kind of pivot into setting intentions. And what are the differences between these two things? Well, I find that goals are oftentimes limited and personal and competitive, and there's attachment associated with them. And intentions, we could say, are transpersonal. They're include more than our local self when we set them. They're more expansive than goals are in that way, sort of thing. There's no attachment to them at all, and they're creative, not competitive. When we think about kind of setting intentions,
Yeah.
sort of thing,
Well said.
right? So we have a little recipe. We have a little recipe for setting intentions.
Yeah, we don't really like to cook food. We love to eat food, but we're really good about recipes for personal development.
Right, exactly. So here is personal recipe, intention recipe,
Great.
sort of thing. So and as we're talking about this, you might be like, that kind of sounds like setting a goal. But there's little energetic differences
Nuances.
here that are really, really important.
Yeah.
So step one of setting a transformational intention is to become very clear about what it is that you truly desire.
Yep.
Very clear about that.
Yep.
And so how do we do that? How do we go about getting clear about something?
How do you go about that?
Well, for me, I do my somatic practices. I loosen up my body, relax my nervous system, get into kind of a quiet internal state, as quiet as I can make my internal state, and then sometimes I just allow images to wander through and then see kind of like what's happening. Might also just ask myself, what is it that I really want? What would help me experience more peace in my life? What would help me experience more joy in my life? Sometimes too, I just like to walk out in nature, be
Oh, yeah.
connected with nature,
Yeah,
and just
that's
wander
really
around
helpful.
for a while. And certainly like stay off of devices and that kind of stuff, like disconnect
Yeah.
from the technological world and to really say, hey, what is it that I really, really want right now
Yeah.
in my life?
I connect with my soul's agenda purpose state,
Hmm.
and I just let it arise from there. That's what I do.
Yeah. So you just kind of check in you get the sensation associated with the purpose state.
Yeah, so I might be in a place where I'm just experiencing it naturally, like for example, walking out in nature, and I notice that I feel it. But if I'm intentionally trying to create intentions, I will intentionally work up my purpose state and get in that flavor and feeling, and then the intentions rise from there.
Yeah, because that purpose state is actually one of the ingredients in the process, which you apparently combine kind of those two ingredients together
I do.
to kind of come about to that truly desired
I do.
experience.
Yeah.
No, it's also okay. I've worked with people before who identify their true desire through contrast.
Absolutely.
And that's good, right? It's okay to say, hey, this is what I have right now, and I don't like it. And then we'll say, well,
What do you want?
what do you want?
Yep.
Right. And well, I know I don't want, I was going to say, I know I don't want coffee, but I always want coffee.
You always
That's
want
not,
coffee.
I know I don't want tea. I know I don't want soda.
Soda.
I know I don't want a beer. I know I don't want alcohol. What do I want? What's left? Coffee. So, sort of thing.
Yeah,
So,
that finding your intention through contrast is something that, well, not only do we have to enlighten a lot of students and clients about because they've never heard it done like that before, and it gives a lot of permission. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I've never heard of that before. Well, I definitely know what I don't want. Honestly, it's a process that a lot of times people need some support with because to turn it around to what you do want can be tricky, especially when you're very identified with what you don't want in your life.
so
So it can require some help
yeah,
with coaching to
definitely, because the tricky thing is oftentimes people can get attached to and stuck on the thing they don't want.
right. And you won't hear yourself continuing to say what you don't want. And you think you're saying what you do want, but you're actually still talking about what you don't want. And you can't hear yourself because you can't hear yourself. You need some support with that. So it's a key part to potentially get some support with.
So for some people, it takes a little time actually to filter through a bunch of the internal resistance and internal garbage to even identifying what it is that we really want.
Yeah.
I mean, and that can take time.
Got to upgrade your spam filter.
So we're just saying like that takes some time. So if that is taking a day, a week, a month for
okay.
you, that's
You'll get it.
okay. Right. But don't,
Keep going.
if you're getting frustrated with it, just notice that's just your inner resistance. That's what's happening, but keep working with it to really continue clarifying what it is that you really want and to boldly kind of claim that that is important to you.
Hmm.
Now, Ani kind of gave us this other ingredient, which is the fuel of our purpose state. And so for us here at the Somatic Coaching Academy, we work with the soul's agenda, but you might have other purpose um, processes that you've done
Methodologies.
before that help you to feel. And again, the way we come at from purpose is a purpose state. So there's definitely a sensation that's oriented to your purpose.
Not an emotion, a sensation. I think that's a really key difference
Mm,
because a bunch of people who do like intention setting actually tell you that the fuel for your intention is emotion. And I would say that is um, kind of inaccurate and potentially super misleading.
mhm.
It's a sensation.
Yeah.
This podcast isn't about that, but
Yeah, well, I think to just circle back to what we were talking about before, is I think oftentimes our emotions can be laden with attachment,
100%.
which is going to thwart
Well,
our intention setting and then
yep.
getting what we want to have.
And then you'll be the self-fulfilling prophecy of your core limiter, wondering why you can't do it, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. So there's another ingredient in setting intentions, and this is bringing in the law of reciprocity, the law of positive reciprocity. So let's just talk the law of reciprocity for a moment.
This one is the biggest one I see missing from all intention and goal setting I've ever seen
Well, so
before, and it's really
to
important.
your point, goal setting is a lot of eye orientation.
Correct.
And so you're maybe
It's
not
not even in there.
consciously bringing that in. But for intention setting, you need to bring in, if you want to set transformational intentions, you need to bring in the law of positive reciprocity. So here's what the law of positive reciprocity says. You probably heard of this somewhere along the line, is that basically what you put out in the world, you get back from the world, right? What we sow is what we reap. And so
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. Anyway,
that's
if it's the wrong one.
wrong one. That's like law of rhythm. But yeah.
No, no,
But
I was getting to the leaves. Anyway,
anyway,
go ahead.
something else. All right, we'll
Yeah.
do that one later.
Okay.
All right.
Sing along at another
Sing along
time.
later.
Okay.
So the law of positive reciprocity basically states that what we put out in the world, we get back from the world. And when we put out positive things to the world or expansive things to the world, then we get expansive things back from the world. And then some people are like, but wait, like there's somebody or person or people in my life where I am like always like giving my best out, and all I get back is like crap from them all the time. So does this work? So this is the tricky thing. With the law of reciprocity, what it states is that what you put out in the world, you get back from the world. If you put something positive out in the world, you get something positive back from the world, but not necessarily from the place that you're putting it out to. So this goes back to the attachment. If we are attached to something good coming back directly from the place that we put it out to, then we actually will shut off the avenues of good that are coming from the rest of the universe. Because every individual point, place, thing that we're putting something out to is a part of the universe. And so if we see it, everything as an extension of the universe, and we put good out to anywhere in particular, we can get good back from anywhere because it's all part of the universe. Like, for instance, I could be doing really great stuff or putting out really positive stuff for our kids and feel like all I get back from the kids is junk. But if I'm really attached to, I'm trying to be really nice for them, I'm trying to be a really good parent, and all they're do is crab and all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 then I'm going to be attached to that. But if I'm like, but I'm putting really good stuff out to them, but I get really good stuff back from Ani, then I'm like, well, they're all part of the universe. So and I'm part of the universe too. So I'm interacting with all of it. I see a smile on your face. That sounds like you have something going on in there.
Um, yeah, you get good back from me all the time, Brian.
Okay,
That's
that's right.
good.
All I get, all
All,
I get, it's
all
all
day
good
long,
all the time.
all
It's
good,
all good
all the
all the
time.
time.
Um, yeah, this I'm smirking because it's the biggest thing that people miss in creating the life that they want and the results that they want is they miss the opportunity for them to have the thing because it's already in their life, but they can't see it. And to your point, when we set goals, it's like we have blinders on. And so the
Right.
intention actually takes the blinders off so we can see things showing up in different ways in different direction. And it makes perfect sense because can I just like go down a rabbit hole here for a second?
Sure.
Okay, so it makes perfect sense because everything is energy and energy forms into patterns and we are pattern based beings. Our brains work on pattern prediction and that's how we operate is on patterns, right? And so when we want something new in our lives, it's not going to come in patterned the way that we're used to seeing it. It's actually going to come in a different form and function, a different way that we don't necessarily recognize, see, and think, oh, that's the thing. And we can work through the process of the natural laws on actually transmuting the stuff that we're getting in to be the thing that we want when in reality what we're transmuting is actually our limiting beliefs and our perception, not actually the thing outside of us. But okay, rabbit hole over.
That was a great download.
Yeah, and
What
what I've
happens?
seen a lot with my clients actually like recently is this idea of being able to really see the stuff that's already in your life to help you fulfill what you're trying to get. It's already there. And we've been working on helping them to recreate their patterning so that they can not only perceive it, but that they can harness that to be able to get the results that they want.
Yeah, and that's really actually one of the important foundational processes we work with in our Living with the Laws program
Yeah,
too. Like right there, what you just said, like
100%.
that's a lot of what we're
Yep.
doing with people.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of this work actually with people too to help them clarify, set
Yeah.
intentions that carry them like, and we work with them all year with these three parts. So let's just name those three parts again really quick, right? Get really clear, crystal clear on what it is that you truly desire. What's the positive reciprocity? How does that intention serve the universe in a more expansive way? And infusing it with your purpose state.
And the reason I think it's important to do it with a group like we do in our laws program is that you get to see how it works for somebody else. And then you can see through the process of watching their
Yeah.
process more information about how it works for you. Because the reality is that most people not it's not just don't understand, it's aren't aware of, it's an awareness issue and we can build awareness better in group because I can see something in you that I can't see in myself. So when I see it work in and with and through you, then I can think about myself and reflect differently on my own process.
Yeah. So when you're setting these intentions, there's a couple of just kind of self-reflective questions to ask to say, hey, am I really actually setting a transformational intention or not? And so one of the questions is, do you do you feel a powerful sense of expansive resonance in your body when you focus on the intention?
Mm-hmm.
Does it help you feel more, you have a more expansive sensation going on in your body? And we don't even have to call that, you can call it an emotion if you want to, but go deeper than that and just focus on the sensory experience you're having. Does it feel expansive? So that's one kind of like clearing mechanism for, oh, are you checking that box for a yes? If that's a yes, then, oh, you're setting that's one component of a transformational intention. So that's one of them. The next question is, does this intention offer more life to everyone? That's that positive reciprocity bit right there. And if the answer is, or at least, if not to everyone, to more people than you,
Or to beings or the earth
right?
or yeah.
And that doesn't, by the way, mean it excludes you from, right? So we're not setting up a martyr either, because martyrdom is not actually not setting an intention either in a powerful way.
You're not trying to take anything from anybody, including yourself.
Right? Because it's positive reciprocity. So it means you have to include your own reciprocity and your own goodness in there as well as what you're offering the world. So you have to have both of those. And that takes a little bit of work to kind of get through.
It
So you're
does.
clarifying it. Does it offer more life to, you know, the universe in general? Let's just put it that way. That's really important. So we've got that. We've got that. Now here's a little other thing that I want to make clear to people when we're setting these things, because there's a little hitchy point here is, are you setting the intention to escape your present circumstances?
That's a big one.
Because if you're setting the intention to try to escape your present circumstances, then you actually always recreate your present circumstances. So just as an example of that, if you're, let's say you're not bringing in as much money as you'd like every month, and you're always falling short with your bills, you're always feeling kind of money strapped, and you set an intention like, well, my intention is to have double my money, so that I feel better in the world. My kids will benefit, and I'm gonna be able to go on vacation, something like that. So that's not, I mean, the elements of that aren't bad for an intention, but where's it being set from? If it's being set from you're trying to get out of a situation, then the energy of that will always just recreate that situation again. So we have a little saying where when we're setting intentions, we want to accept the present and intend the future. Accept the present and intend a different future. So you have to become very, yeah, just accepting. And by the way, when we say accepting, it doesn't mean we need to like it, but we need to accept it,
There's a
that it's happening.
there's a humbleness to that.
Stop fighting against what's currently happening.
Stop fighting. Yeah.
So it's like we accept what's happening in the present moment, and then we intend something different in the future. That's like just an important little, again, clarifying question around setting those really powerful transformational intentions. Yeah. What other thoughts do you have on intentions, Ani?
I'm ready to set mine. Let's go.
All right.
No, I love this conversation, and it's one that I love to come back to over and over again because I love to come back to my intentions. I also love to hear about other people's intentions, and also really see the light bulbs go off with people when they take this recipe and start to put it into practice because it's not intuitive based on how we've been taught to think about ourselves in the world for a lot of people, and so it does require a little bit of practice, and then they can continue to create these powerful intentions over and over and over again for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just wrap with a little story
Sure.
of difference in goals and intention settings in my own life?
Sure.
So this goes way back. So when I was in middle school, and
Little Brian
with little Brian,
with hair.
we did, yeah, more hair than I have now. We did, and I saw the beard though.
Well, that's scary.
Yeah. So we had like whatever. What do you want to be when you grow up day? And I was like, I wanted to be a teacher. That's what I wanted to be, right? Both my parents are teachers. I wanted to be a teacher, kind of thing. And I was so excited. I came running home. I was like, Dad, I'm going to be a teacher. And he said, No, you're not. Because I'm a teacher, and you don't get respect, you don't make enough money, like all these things. You're not going to be a teacher. Go find something else. And I was like a little, I wanted to be a teacher, but I went and found something else, and I decided to be a physical therapist, right? And they're like, good, like you'll get a job, you'll get paid, like that
Right.
kind of stuff. So I went to PT school, although those kinds of things, and then one of my first jobs out of PT school, was at Craig Hospital. And I was like 22 years old working at Craig Hospital. And there were people who've been working there for like 30 years. I mean, like a long
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
experts in
Forever.
experts in their field.
Yeah.
And I had the audacity as a 22-year-old to start doing in-services to the PT staff on orthopedic stuff because they had a lot of knowledge in neurological rehab, but they weren't really well versed in orthopedic kind of stuff. And so I would do research, and I'd create these little in-services on, things like frozen shoulder and hip replacement. Because sometimes you'd have, actually more than sometimes, you'd have people in motor vehicle accidents and climbing accidents and those skiing accidents that have multiple injuries, not just head injuries, but
Right.
broken bones and all that kind of stuff that didn't get a lot of attention. And so I started doing in-services, and it was really cool. And then I got my life started to kind of change and grow, and I started doing more teaching, and like long story short, like now I'm basically teaching full time professional development, our programs here at Somatic Coaching Academy, all those kinds of things. And it's been an amazing journey for me to now, if I had a goal in seventh grade of being a teacher, right now I'd be teaching biology in middle school
Right.
because that would have been what I was attached to as the goal.
Right. It has to look like
But
this.
what I held was an intention that I wanted to teach. And I wasn't attached to how that necessarily looked. And I knew I wanted to do it in a way that just like when I would teach, like I could see people's faces light up and their awareness, and we'd ask questions, and like the positive reciprocity was kind of there. And for me, it just felt really good to do the research, to come up with something, to share another idea, to see those light bulbs go on. And so I held that intention through my whole career. And actually, as a physical therapy and clinical practice, like one of the things I did a lot with my own patients was educate them. That's what I loved to do, was to do education so that they could actually empower themselves for healing and they weren't dependent on me to do it. So education became a through line of everything that I did, from my days working in hospitals to my days running my own clinical practice to the days where we had our wellness center. Like education was the whole, like a whole thread through the whole thing. And now my intention has kind of flourished into what I get to do every day, which is just absolutely amazing in my life.
And you could be looking at it going, I'm not a teacher.
Exactly. Yeah. Or I could have been attached to, teaching eighth grade biology or seventh grade biology, or whatever it was,
Yeah.
which is what I wanted to do.
Right.
So, but now I am kind of teaching biology with the physiology. So that's what happens when you let go of the attachment of how you think it's supposed to look, and you hold the intention, and the universe has open pathways for me to live a life that I just absolutely love and adore, so much more than I would have if I would have been a teacher.
Yeah, the intentions have baked within it the magic of the universe, and
Yeah.
that's what's so much fun and so cool and works.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
it's a
some of
great
the
story.
magic of setting those transformational intentions.
That story, Brian,
Yeah.
and that you could teach at the academy.
I do.
So good.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining us for this episode, and we can't wait to hear about your intentions, and we will see you next week.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope that this conversation will help you improve your practice and change the way you think about your work, your clients, and yourself.
Continue your exploration of trauma-sensitive somatic coaching by listening to more podcast episodes at somaticcoachingacademy.com. You could be the trusted guide that people turn to help them with their most challenging situations and to reach their most precious goals. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next time.